Welcome back to episode 5 of Divorce Like You Know What You're Doing. Okay, in today's video, what we're going to talk about is your future. At separation, what you believe to be your whole future is suddenly gone. You have a whole new future that's completely blank, stretching out before you. This can be really hard for a lot of people to deal with and to react with fear and anger. What that ends up doing, if you end up staying in that fear and anger zone for too long, is it gets you really stuck in the muck, fighting over what is left at the end of your relationship, not really understanding why you're fighting over it. There is a period of time that's totally natural to feel like this as you're grieving the loss of a relationship that maybe you never had or you thought you had, but you're discovering you didn't have. And that can take some time to process. But let me make the case that you should let that fear, anger, and grief pass you by so that you can move forward with your life. I'm Laurel Dietz, and I'm a family lawyer. I'm the owner of Alinea Legal Coaching, which is an exclusively legal coaching based family law firm located in Victoria, British Columbia, but serving clients throughout BC. Join me in my mission to make 100 YouTube videos about how you can divorce like you know what you're doing. This week, we're looking forward to gain some leverage to help you rise out of the muck, rise above, and move on with your life. I work with hundreds of clients a year going through separation and divorce. The first time a client comes to me, I often spend a considerable amount of time asking them about their goals. What do they want? What does their future look like? Not just in the moment and the next year or two. What I'm looking at is long term vision. I want to know, what do you plan to be doing in about 10 years, 15 years, 20 years? How can we leverage this situation? How can we make this situation into something that's going to launch you into the future that you want for yourself, that you dream for yourself? I promise you that if you let it, there's a lot of good that will come your way after your divorce. This is a difficult time. It is a rocky time. It's a time of transformation. You're changing from what you thought you were into something different, into something that you could be. So if you take the time now to do the hard work, to dream, to plan, to make difficult decisions, there will be a time after divorce. There will be good times in your life again. Yes, it is a hard time. I'm not trying to gloss over that. But it is really important to remember that there are better times ahead. So as you process your grief, as you process your anger, as you process your fear, try to think about the future. What do you want for yourself? How are you going to get it? Where do you want to be in 10 years? Dream about your future in relation to what you have always wanted, not in relation to what your ex is planning on doing or what your ex is planning on taking from you or um, anything in relation to your ex at all. Just think about, if you had no limits on what you could do, what would you do? Once you have that in your mind, something that you really are getting excited about and looking forward to, now that's when we're taking the time to process, what is it that you have right now? What are your limitations? What are your constraints? Where can you make some compromises in relation to your ex? So there is a legal component to this, of course. You're going to be finding out about your legal rights and responsibilities. And that will involve working with a lawyer, perhaps in a targeted way. If you're not sure about how to do that, check out episode 2 of my series, which is using your legal services in a targeted way and the kind of lawyers you need to be looking for. I'll do my best to put a link in the video. So when you get to that point, or when you're at a point where you can start really thinking long term about where you want your life to go, it's just dreaming that I'm talking about. It's not an instant process. And that can be extremely frustrating in this world where everything is supposed to happen like that. And I understand that, it's kind of like exercise. You go to one exercise class and you're like, why don't I look like the instructor? Well, I'll tell you what, it can take years to look like your instructor, and dedicated commitment, consistency. Now, I'm not saying you should stay in your divorce for years, but you certainly should, before you get to the negotiation table, take the time that you need to process those really difficult emotions, the grief, the anger, the fear. When you can approach it with some peace and you are able to dream and look forward to the future, that's when we're ready to start really getting into the details of the negotiation. In my experience, there's nothing more dangerous than approaching a divorce like you just need to get through it so fast. Now, that's where we are missing out on important details. We're not thinking at all about the future. We're just trying to get out of an uncomfortable situation as fast as possible, likely because we're scared, likely because we don't like the negative emotions. Maybe we're feeling guilty. Maybe something has happened. Maybe we're feeling panicked. that I don't want a high conflict divorce. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to sign everything away and walk away. And, actually, and this will be a different video. Maybe we're thinking, I have a secret side deal. It doesn't matter. There are no secret side deals in divorce. We'll come back to that in maybe next week's video. Just let me reiterate, dream about the future and don't rush your divorce. This is a really important transitional period in your life, and you need at this early stage to start building the foundation for your future. Now, the people who get stuck looking in the rearview mirror, those are the ones who end up with the high conflict divorces. They can't let things go because they're probably avoiding processing their grief and their anger and their emotions. They aren't thinking about, they're thinking about the things that they're fighting over without thinking about the cost to them to fight over it. And I'm not talking about dollars, although the dollars do add up, not very quickly, I would say, in a high conflict divorce. But I'm talking about the years of your life that you're not getting back, your diminished health because you're in constant stress mode, fighting. It's extremely toxic and it will tear away at you and it'll tear away at your children, and you will never get those years back. So before you go in to a negotiation or your divorce and separation with guns blazing, take a minute, slow yourself down, and really think about where you want to be in a year, in 5 years, and in 10 years, maybe even 20. How do you wish you will have spent those years? I guarantee you it's not in a courtroom. I guarantee you it's not getting back at your ex. And the last piece of advice I will say is, if you really do feel like you need to get back at your ex, there's nothing more devastatingly amazing than having a life well lived. It doesn't seem like it, but it's oh so true. And I see it time and time again. If you're interested in learning a little bit more about how you can negotiate and get from your separation to a signed separation agreement, we are offering an online course. It's called An Agreement Worth Signing. If you sign up with us, we will also give you some coaching calls, one-on-one coaching calls. So I think a 45-minute coaching call and a 30-minute coaching call at different stages as you progress through the course. And those coaching calls are included in the price of the course, and they'll make sure that you're staying on track. We all know that it's really difficult to stay on track with online courses. That's why people pay for them and then give up. The cost of the course is a little bit more expensive because of those coaching calls, but it includes all that information that I have spent years just reiterating and saying to my clients over and over and over again. If you're struggling with communication with your ex, we now have available for purchase on our website a communication guide. I'm not sure how many points in it, but if you take out that guide, you read it, you learn it, you live it, following it step by step, I guarantee you communication is going to come much more smooth and easy breezy. You will be the one in control of that communication, and it will feel good. Anyway, that's it for this week. Looking forward to next time. Take care.